Hello again, everybody. It is time for another episode of Michael's Record Collection, where we talk about great music with the people who make it and the people who love it. I am honored to be joined once again by John Boegehold from Pattern Seeking Animals, back on the show to promote new album Grimalkin. Comes out August 21st on Giant Electric P. John, thanks so much for coming back on the show. Thanks for your time.
My pleasure. My pleasure. Good to see you.
Good to see you. So last time we talked about Friend of All Creatures, and now the new one's coming out. It's going to be your sixth album for Pattern Seeking Animals and second on GEP. And I think the first thing that's really kind of strikes me about it is the cover art and the name, very unusual. Of course, Grimalkin, um, you know, it conjures up which is familiar, a cat, maybe some sort of
Yeah.
even a shapeshifter or something. Tell me what was on your mind that linked this to that word.
You know, I, I keep a running list of lyric ideas. It's like 100 some odd Word doc pages at this point. Song titles, band names, album titles. I have it. So every time we start an album, I think, okay, now it's time to come up with an album name. And Grimalkin is one of those words I came across that I was interested in. And Grimalkin, essentially coined by Shakespeare, most people think, which means gray cat. And in his meaning, it was a cat which is like a sidekick of a witch, of a witch's coven. And it would be
Mm-hmm.
there as kind of like a helper to a witch, which you could channel all sorts of witchly things through. And I just thought it was a cool sounding word. It changed, it was, gray Malkin, which is a name for cat. It's taken on different forms over the years for different usage.
Mm-hmm.
But I just like the title, so I thought I'll look at it first. The first thing you always do is decide or find out, is anyone else using this title for something? So I go through the search. No one's using it. Great. I got the album name, which is like, whew, load off my mind. And then at that point is trying to find the artwork. And what I've been doing recently is finding existing artwork which matches the title. And I follow hundreds of artists on Instagram. So I said, okay, I got them all saved. Okay, start going through it. And as soon as I saw that image, it looked like a kind of an evil little cat. And I thought perfectly. So I contacted the artist. And half the time you contact artists, they don't get back to you. It's like, hey, I'm trying to license your work. I'm trying to pay you for something. But yeah, Laura, artist in Argentina, got back to me right away. She goes, yeah, I'd love to license it for the album. And what was cool about it is that besides just the cover, she had a few other images with the same subject. So when we put the actually album graphics together, there's different images of the same creature. So which made life really good. So
Was there
yeah.
any effort to sort of tie that name into the lyrics, or by the time you got around to this, was there already lyrics written and all that kind of thing?
Oh yeah, no, the songs were mostly done. No, I wouldn't have. At one point, just as a scratch title, I had one of the songs called Grimalkin because I couldn't think of anything else. I'm always hesitant to name to make a title track,
Mm-hmm.
for an album. Because let's say I had a song called Grimalkin, and everyone would think, oh, that's the one that's gonna tie the whole album together, and maybe it isn't one of their favorites, or maybe it really doesn't. So I just try and do individual titles which are unique, and they don't have anything to do with the rest of the material.
Gotcha. All right. Well, you've been on the show before, so we know your first favorite record. You talked about Mellow Yellow from Donovan. You talked about Paint It Black by the Stones
Yeah,
and Bird is the Word by the Trashmen. And
those are the
then
first three singles I bought.
and then your first album you that kind of grabbed you was the first Monkeys album.
Yes.
Kudos to you there for, 'cause I love that album so much even to this day.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
but when you and I spoke before, we're talking about Friend of All Creatures. Now you got Grimalkin, Gray Cat. You're the Pattern Seeking Animals. Is John Boegehold a big animal lover? Is this is a recurring theme for a reason?
Oh, I like animals as much as the next person, especially for a tasty steak at dinner. No, but no, I love animals, cats and dogs. But I just pattern seeking animals because the original name of the band wasn't necessarily about an animal per se. It
Mm-hmm.
was Michael Shermer calling humans pattern seeking animals,
Right.
which we've gone over before. and I've tried to tie in an animal on the cover of most of ours just because it's a little tie-in from album to album. I think Spooky Action at a Distance didn't have an album, or rather animal for the album cover. But I'm not necessarily trying to do that. But when I can do it without trying to force it, I like having the tie-in from album to album.
Hmm. Yeah. So this is like we mentioned, your sixth album as a band. It's still Ted Leonard, yourself, Dave Maros, Jimmy Keegan,
Yep.
and with Friend of All Creatures, you told me this about the story of the Seventh Sleeper,
Right.
and I was curious as to whether there were any unusual stories sort of rattling around your brain that inspired something on this album, some of the lyrics on this album.
Um, Not necessarily. Seventh Sleeper. I like the title of that. I just like the title of that song. And there's Seventh Sleeper in all sorts of different religious texts going far back. And the album wasn't, or the song wasn't really based around that.
Yeah.
Really, no, there's nothing tying in together. There's um, some of the albums, some of the lyrics are based on relationships. Some of them are based on just fantasy. Uh, they come from different viewpoints.
Right.
I'm not necessarily trying to tie in like any kind of concept or anything to the lyric. The songs just hopefully stand on their own. You're not hearing one go, oh, the rest of the album is going to be about criminals, or the rest of the album is going to be about armies or whatever. And I
Mm-hmm.
don't, yeah, I don't really do that.
Yeah. So, tell me when you started work on this, relative to the end of releasing friend of all creatures and getting that taken care of and out into the public. When did work begin for this, or did it begin before that was even out?
Yeah, it always does. I mean, I have three songs pretty much almost ready to go for number seven. Yeah, if you can look behind me, you can see my studio. Everything is turned on back there. Um, no, I'm just constantly writing.
Hmm.
So a lot of times, I don't necessarily start with a clean slate for every album. I have ideas going back many albums and sometimes many, many, many years. Songs I wrote 30 or 40 years ago, which didn't work back then, but I look at it now and think maybe just because I've changed or evolved with my songcraft or whatever. Sometimes I look. There's a couple songs on this album which are the originals, which have changed a lot, are from a band I was in 40 years ago with Dave. And at the time, I wasn't even writing music yet. I was writing lyrics and some melodies and stuff, writing a little music. But there's a couple songs, Jade Sky and Breakaway, that were from that period. And both of us always thought those are really cool songs. And as you evolve as a songwriter, now I look back at the songs that were written back then thinking, you know what? I totally get why this song didn't work then, and I know exactly what to do to make it work now. I need to change the chords in the verse. I need to change the lyrics in the bridge. I need to come into another chorus here. It's all the songcraft stuff. And so that's constant with me. I've always done that. So I'll go back many, many years. I'm not too proud to dig into my past because it's new when you hear it. It's new to you guys. It's new to the fans, and it's new to the audience.
Yeah, I find that fascinating. Some people don't, they just discard things that they don't keep it around. They think, well, there's a reason it's not working, and I'll just start fresh with a new idea. And then others will keep things around and they'll go, oh, I have a bit from 20 years ago that I
Oh
remember
yeah.
that I always wanted to do something with, and
Oh, that's me. Yeah, that's me. That's me, and it's one of my favorite quotes are like, um, "Songs are never finished; they're only abandoned," and which I kind of live by. And but the songs, uh, yeah, because sometimes I listen to stuff and songs that were just like I said, perplexing and completely confusing how to make work 10, 15, 20 years ago, whatever. Now you look back at it and go, oh yeah, I know what to do here. It's so obvious now, but I didn't have the musical chops back then to do it.
yeah. And sometimes you just need to put something aside and
Oh yeah,
come back to it, and then you'll see it with fresh eyes. So
yeah.
yeah, I understand.
But I will say nowadays when I'm writing, because I tend to be pretty brutal about editing songs, if I edit a part out of a song I've written now, I never go back to that part because I've edited it out because it's not working. I'm bored by it. I just erase it. It's gone.
Hmm.
I just don't save things for other songs. ever at this
Yeah.
point.
Now, did for this one, did the other guys, did Ted, Dave, or Jimmy have any more influence than previous albums? Did anybody do more than they've done in the past, or something different than they've done in the past?
About the same. The only co-writing credit, like Ted has on a song called "The Flower Yet to Grow." He wrote the bulk of the lyrics on that one.
Mm-hmm.
But the working relationship is usually the same. I come out with a demo and the song and the structure. Like for Dave, for example, it's always been the same. I'll write about, I don't know, 80, 90% of the bass parts, but the rest of it, I'll either write something really rudimental, just basic stuff, and say, hey, Dave, in this section, in this 16 bars or this section, come up with something cool here, do something, whatever, whatever. And I always tell him, if you hear something I've written which you think you could do differently and want to do, absolutely go for it. And it's
Mm-hmm.
the same thing with Jimmy with the drums. I'll write a basic groove and just let him go for it. Same thing with Ted with the lyrics and the melodies. I come up with a basic melody, but I always encourage him, hey, throw different harmonies, or you're hearing something different, absolutely go for it. Whatever you want to do, I'm always happy to hear that. So that's kind of been the working structure, since this band started.
Gotcha. So this is you've released, as you and I speak today. We've got the three singles that are already out in the world on the streaming services. Maybe All a Dream was the first one, I think. Then
Yep.
Traveler on the Wrong Road Home, and Slowly Falls the Flying Man.
Right.
Um, and what strikes me about this album is that it tends to go in, I think this goes into more different directions than previous Pattern Seeking Animals albums, at least the last couple. And one of the interesting things about it is instrumentation is a little bit different in places than it's been in the past. And one of those ones that sticks out is Jade Sky. It sounds, I don't have the musical credits for this album, so
Right.
I'm not sure, but I'm assuming that's a real violin, and
Yeah.
there's just an interesting instrumentation about that. Tell me about the germination of Jade Sky.
Well, first of all, it's Joe Dennison from Kansas. He's playing violin on that. He's also
Not
playing
bad.
on, yeah, not bad. He's also playing on Slowly Falls the Flying Man. He's a
Mm-hmm.
violin on that. This is one of those songs from 40 years ago, and it's different. I mean, some of the melodies are the same, and the lyrics are mostly the same because I wrote them, and I rewrote a lot of the chords, and the bridge is totally different, and the structures. There's just basic stuff I originally liked about that song, and rewrote the whole song around it. I always liked the vibe of that song. The instrumentation, I'm playing mandolin, different guitars and stuff like that, and the keyboards are standard what I've been using, but I approach it differently with that sing along chorus, that la 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 thing at the end. That's all new. Yeah, I'm really happy with the way that song turned out.
Yeah, it's one of my early favorites. I'm sure that'll go through some changes as I get more and more listens. But another thing, one of the songs that stuck out to me is uh, this is one of these things is not like the others, is Things I Don't Do, which is
Right.
kind of a list of things that the narrator doesn't do anymore, did with their significant other.
Yeah.
Uh, Obviously, the question that leaps to mind is this about someone in particular, or is it based on something external?
No, this is a song originally was written with someone not in the band I wrote with years ago.
Mm-hmm.
It was kind of a country song originally.
Oh wow.
And the original version had things I don't do. The original version was, I don't go to the Braves game, and I don't go to, it
Mm-hmm.
was things about more of a country kind of thing. But again, I always liked the title. I came up with the things I don't do line, and I thought it was a unique way. But for Pattern Seeking Animals, obviously I removed all the country elements out of it. And I rewrote the third verse to make it about a person who's gone, and whether they're still living is an issue, but I won't give away the twist. And I wrote it specifically to be very down. It's only me and Ted on that. Ted's singing,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm doing the instrumentation. It's all keyboards. That's it. There's no Dave. There's no Jimmy. It's just meant to be. It's what 220 or it's less than 3 minutes,
Yeah,
whatever it is.
240. So it really
But
stands out on a prog album.
Well, yeah, exactly. But
Yeah.
my goal on this album was just to write songs I really liked at the time and good songs.
Hmm.
And I don't mind going. I think on what was the album? There's one song, "Everdark Mountain," which is like 2 minutes and 2.5 minutes from whatever album that was from. Only passing through, I think. Yeah, I don't mind. It doesn't matter how long the song is, and I don't never try and make things longer just to make it prog or to make it whatever. It's
Yeah.
definitely not prog, but it's a good song and it's a vibe.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just want to hear good songs and good melodies.
And I like when you're listening to it, you're not sure as the story goes along. You're like, okay, is this somebody is it a breakup? Is it a death? That kind of
Yeah,
thing. I do enjoy, that leaving a little bit to the imagination, at least,
right.
through the song.
Sure.
You also have a backing vocalist on that, right?
Uh, that's actually me singing.
That's you.
I will give you it is the only part I used AI on any of this record because I don't like the sound of my own voice,
Hmm.
is that what I'll do when I'm writing, because I don't want to hear my voice, there's an AI site called Automate. I said, I just want to hear a different voice. It's still my inflection, it's still my phrasing, it's still my singing, but it
Hmm.
changes the quality of my voice just like for this one to sound like a female.
Yes.
And for the rest of the album, I actually did have a female vocalist, Diane Booth. We replaced all the parts. But on this one, my voice in there, it sounded like it worked. So I said, well, I'm not going to mess with it. But that's the only AI that ever creeps in our stuff is the vocal, and it's still. I liken it to playing a guitar through a rig and you're making it sound like a 12 string instead of an electric. It's just
Yeah,
changing.
you're just putting some effects on it.
It's like more of an effect, but it makes it sound like more of a female vocalist. But it's still me singing, and it's still me, my inflections and pitch and all that kind of stuff. So yeah.
Well, I was floored when you said it was you, because I did think it was I thought maybe it was Diane, and I was like,
Well, originally that was what it was going to be, and I kind of
yeah.
sang it with her in mind. I kind of sang a phrasing like she would do, but it's like, well, it turned out fine. So what the hell? Let's go for it. Yeah,
It really worked, and it really kind of, I love the way that it creates, like you said, a vibe. It creates a real mood for the song. Like,
yeah,
this is the person who's not there anymore.
right. Yeah, that was the
Um,
idea. That's the
yeah,
idea. Yeah.
just it's a beautiful song. I really
Well,
enjoy it.
thanks.
Again, it's not prog, but it's a good song, and I don't feel like I mean, only the prog snobs would turn their nose up.
I fully expect, but there's stuff on all of our albums. The Prague Snogs will turn their nose up, which is fine. I
Yeah,
don't expect everyone to like everything. I don't like
yeah,
everything I hear in other people's stuff, so why should people like my stuff?
right.
It's simple as that. Yeah, that's my viewpoint.
Another interesting one, instrumentation wise, is "Traveler on the Wrong Road Home." Starts out, you got this horn, and then you've got this near the end. There's this Middle Eastern vibe,
Yeah.
and just what was inspiring for you on that one, and what made it go in that direction?
Well, the original it's viola. Candy Gerard, who I've used for known forever. She's been in bands of mine in the past. Great viola part, which I altered a little bit to give it a little more of a mid-eastern thing. I altered, I chopped it up a bit. But what happened was we were recording the song. Her part is really exotic and really cool and really moody. But I was thinking the rest of the song wasn't really doing that, so I wanted to find something that would make it that. So I called trumpet player John Fumo, who's played on a couple of our albums in the past,
Mm-hmm.
and I wrote some trumpet parts. So all of a sudden it gave it a totally different vibe, which I loved the way it turned out. But it was just one of those songs, like I said, I just wasn't happy with the vibe the song was. It was a little too much of this, not enough of that. But when he put that trumpet thing on there, it tied the whole thing together.
Well, it kind of begs the question too, John, with their the final songs. How closely, if at all, do they resemble what you had in your head when you started noodling around?
Well, depends what song, but for the most part, I don't have anything in my head. I usually start a song where I come up with a cool part and think, oh, that'll make it, this might make a good song, then just start building from there. So I don't necessarily have something in mind. Now, Traveler on a Long Road Home was a song written first. Things I Don't Do was written. Jade Sky was like a written song. Everything else on the album just kind of happened, from the ground up.
Hmm.
organically. Um, so I don't really have an idea. And what happens is because I'm not really doing demos, I'm putting together the tracks which everyone is going to record to. So the song builds up, and by the song is ready for everyone else to play on it, it's pretty much got the way the song is going to be. Now it doesn't have guitar solos, and it doesn't have parts the other guys might have thrown in there, but yeah, the structure and the arrangement and the atmospherics and everything is there. Because once they're playing to it, all the keyboards are done and all my guitar parts are done.
Hmm.
So yeah,
Slowly Falls the Flying Man, which is a very prog title, by the way.
yeah, I
um,
thanks, yeah.
what is interesting to me about this song, and what I was made me curious about it, is that there's almost this military drumming in it, and I wondered if that was direction you gave Jimmy, or if Jimmy came up with that.
No, that's something I had in the demo.
Okay.
And the song started out to be a very like Baroque, Renaissance-y kind of thing. Again, Joe Dennison playing on that, and then my Sue Winsberg, who I've known forever, the flautist, who also plays recorders and flute in that song. So I wanted to give it that kind of Baroque-ish thing, which it changes from there. And then at one point I wrote the end, and I wanted it to be like a march. It's the thing in
Mhm.
13/4, na 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 na, with all the vocals going,
Yeah, it's got this
and it
nice
just
little chorusy, sing-songy thing going on, and then you got the military sort of drumming going on in the background.
yeah, I was just for some reason I was thinking when I came up with that of Braveheart, and I thought, well, the military drums would be kind of cool. So I had Jimmy do that kind of military snare thing there, and then earlier in the song he also does it in a section earlier.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, the Braveheart thing does makes things kind of click into place. I could see it.
yeah. Well, with the violins and the recorders and the
Yeah,
flutes and everything, it just kind of yeah goes that way.
one of the few films that I have both soundtracks for that album,
Oh yeah,
for
yeah.
both soundtrack
Trevor
albums for that.
Trevor was it Trevor Jones and but yeah yeah that's a great soundtrack. I was also thinking of Last of the Mohicans. That's another one with that kind of vibe in there.
Yeah, yeah. So you have solo writing credits on three of the songs. The first song, maybe All a Dream, and then the last two,
Yeah.
Slowly Falls the Flying Man and I Dream the World. And then you and Ted, as you mentioned, you co-wrote Flower Yet to Grow, and then you and Terry Duke and Esther Tessel wrote tracks 3 and 5, Jade Sky and Breakaway. And then
You
you
know,
mentioned,
oh,
go
those are
ahead.
the songs from a long time ago from the first band I sang with Dave. I didn't have, didn't have anything to do with the song other than we originally wrote it back in the old days. So I put their names in there obviously because they get writing credits with the
Yeah.
song. So yeah, but it's not like I sat down for this album and wrote that song together.
Right, right.
Yeah,
And then you already alluded to this, things I don't do. You
Stanley,
and Stanley Sitchell, is that
Seychelle. Yeah, we've
Sitchell?
written a zillion songs over the years together. Yeah, he was a writing partner. So and he wrote on 2 albums ago. We had on the bonus track. There's a song called "Just Another Day at the Beach," which he and I also wrote. Yeah, he's a great writer too. So
And then you and Diane Boothby co-wrote "Traveler on the Wrong Road Home."
yeah, again, we wrote that song a long time ago, but I kind of brought it up to date. Yeah,
So "Traveler on the Wrong Road Home," I love the title, and I love the way that it sort of just instantly makes you think about what that means. And I wondered, like, lyrically, what you were going for in terms of that story.
the original lyrics I wrote with Diane, and it was about she grew up in Las Vegas, and um, the original song was based on having bad experiences in Las Vegas, running into people who were users and feet of clay and hearts of stone, and that whole thing, and her trying to get away. I changed the original. Originally, it was called "On a Long Road Home," but I like the idea of I'm a traveler on the wrong road home. I came up with that part. I came up with later, but yeah, the original was from an idea she had of writing it from her experience growing up in Las Vegas. No more whiskey sunrise, find the devil, make him sell me back my soul, all that kind of stuff.
Mhm.
There's a red sky over the highway and 1,000 miles to go. Is leaving Las Vegas, that type of thing.
What was the first song that you completed, that you felt like, okay, this is done now? We record this.
I Dream the World, but only because it's a song I started writing for the first Pattern Seeking Animals record, and it didn't quite work out. Then I tried to do it for Only Passing Through, and it didn't work out. I tried to do it for Friend of All Creatures, and we recorded the drums, and I was really happy with it, but there just wasn't space on the album. I said, okay, let's put it on the next album. So that was done. That was essentially done when I started on Grimalkin. So that was, it wasn't mixed yet, but it was all there. Everyone had done their parts, from the last album.
Mm.
And like I said, there wasn't a place for it. It wasn't quite finished at the end. There was still a few backing vocals to do or something. So I said, yeah, just move it on to the next record. That's fine. So that was done. After that, the next one I had done was Breakaway. And then Maybe All a Dream was next, Flower Yet to Grow. And then they just kind of came after that.
Yeah. Was there a song that it took you a little bit longer to get to it, to get it to where you were happy with than the others?
Uh, I don't think so. I tend to, once I get into the groove of writing a song, I can finish them pretty quickly. Now that doesn't mean like I wrote a song, the first song, Maybe All a Dream. When I originally wrote it, it was about, I don't know, 15 minutes long or something like that. And I put it aside, and when I came back to it, I was happy with it for the most part, but I just thought it's too long. There's sections in here we don't need. And I ended up chopping like half of the length out of that thing. I ended up being 8 or 9 minutes, but there's 6 or 7 minutes I cut out. Only because I would listen to it. And like I said, if I'm getting bored listening to this, I don't want to put it out there for other people to get bored. Hopefully
Yeah.
it'll move. And it's like, well, why are we going to a third verse here? It doesn't need a third verse, even with different lyrics. Why does it need this other instrumental section? It doesn't need that. This section's too long, chop, 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 chop. It just goes into the trash bin of history.
Well, that's good. I'm glad you brought that up because that's one of the questions I was going to ask you was, knowing that when you get bored, you want to cut, like, what was the most amount of material that you cut out of any song on this album? Because there aren't any really super long songs on it.
No, I cut, well, Maybe All a Dream, I cut out a lot of that one. Flower Yet to Grow, I cut out some of the instrumental section, but maybe like a minute worth. Breakaway, I cut about a minute out. And that was about it. Everything else ended up being, Slowly Falls the Flying Man was exactly, I go through it at the end and I don't need it works really well for me. I'm not going to do anything that way. But I tend to be really, cut and dry, no pun intended, with this type of stuff. I make decisions really quickly when I'm writing. I don't, because I write a lot of stuff, for better or for worse, I don't feel like, well, if I cut this out, the album's only going to lose 5 minutes out of the end. I never think like that. Mm-hmm. It's just, I just want it to be good and I want it to flow correctly. And I think maybe some people in the writing, they have trouble writing and a lot of material, and they're thinking, God, I got to put everything on here. Now I need another 15 minutes for the album. I'm just never like that. I just if I think I'm short, this album is actually shorter than any of our albums with 48 minutes, which is also a conscious effort to make it shorter.
Well, it works well for vinyl when you do it that way, and then I know that you can't cut certain albums in way. Certain albums are too long, especially if you have 25-minute songs on them. Like, how do you get that? How do you make it fit on the vinyl?
This one fit perfectly, 24 minutes on the side. But the main reason was for the past couple albums, the only reason Friend of All Creatures I think went to 52 minutes, because at the last minute I wrote a song which had to be on there. That was originally going to be like 46 minutes long. I just started thinking the past few years, and maybe it's because everyone's attention span is so much shorter, because now we're just scrolling through things and everything fast, and you're standing in front of a microwave, tapping your foot, waiting it to be done, that kind of thing. And then you start thinking about it, all the albums, like when we were kids, Close to the Edge is 38 minutes long, or 39 minutes, whatever it was. None of those albums went above 40, and the only ones who ever went more was Genesis, and that might have gone up into 45-minute territory.
Yeah.
And I started also thinking that now when I listen to albums, no matter how good it is, it can be fantastic, but I start to get into the 40-minute mark. If I'm listening to an album, it's like, okay, next, I can't really get into this album more. So I decided, you get some of these prog albums, and they're 60, 70, 80 minutes long and they're double albums. And I don't know how anyone has time to listen to these things more than once or twice. I don't get it. I don't get it.
Yeah, I have Flower Kings albums that I'll listen to disc one today, or I'll
Oh,
listen
yeah.
to listen to disc two.
Oh, and I love the Flower Kings.
Yeah,
I love the Flower Kings. But yeah, and Reiner puts out great, he's one of my favorite writers, prog writers. But yeah, long albums, Transatlantic, that's the other, I mean, they put out one of their last albums. There's not only it's long, there's two versions of it, and there's, you know,
yeah.
I don't know how, I don't know how anyone has time because I listen to music constantly. I just don't listen to albums anymore, and when I do, it's got to be really good and really concise and really, if something's a double album these days, forget it. I'm just not gonna, I'm not gonna listen.
Yeah, I'm even finding that with Peter Gabriel's. He's doing the light mix and the dark side mix, and it's like,
No, no.
just pick one. Like,
Yeah, I'm the same way. I never listen. It's like when an artist puts an album out, and it'll be, it's a 12-song album, and here's the 18-song extended, special edition. I will never listen to that. I will never listen to the 18-song version because I figure the artist made it to be that 10 or 12 songs, whatever it is, and that's a concise thing, and I just don't have. And the other thing what they do, well, here's a different mix of a song from earlier on the album. Well, you're right. Pick one. Pick one. Give me the one you want to present as part of the band. I don't care about an acoustic version. I don't care about a drum and bugle corps version. I just don't care. I just want to hear the song produced as the way you wanted to produce it. Yeah.
yeah, we're getting a lot of that too in the music industry now with anniversary editions, where it's like, okay, here's the album in original mix. Here's the album with this new producer remixing it.
Oh yeah.
Here's all the demos and outtakes, and I will listen to the demos and outtakes exactly
Yeah.
one time, and
That's
I will.
almost one more than I usually do. But it's like, for example, the one Gentle Giant has just released, In a Glass House, remix. Now, I love remixes. I always want to hear a remix. But you're also hearing, well, here's a original remaster to the original, and here's a demo version, and here's the Atmos version, and I just want to hear the album. I want to hear whatever the 7 or 8 songs, whatever is on that album.
Mhm.
And sometimes with the remixes, I'll listen to it once, and I'll think, they really didn't improve it. And sometimes I listen to a remix and think, oh, I'm just going to listen to this remix from now on because it's great.
Mhm.
Stephen Wilson does some great remixing.
Yes.
Uh, and his remix, if you've never heard it, of Chicago 2 is brilliant because the album always just sounded like crap and like it was in a cardboard box, and he just completely brought it to life. But then he remixed other stuff. When I listened to it, like Passion Play, Jethro Tull, it's like,
Mhm.
it's okay, but it didn't really, one way or the other, doesn't matter much. But sometimes remixes can be fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The one exception I'll make for there is if I like an album and somebody that I know and trust, like a Steven Wilson, makes a surround sound mix, I
Yeah.
do want to hear that, and I do buy it and I do listen to it, and
Yeah.
because I like to hear the spatial, what did you do with it spatially that
Yeah.
might make it more there. A lot of those times I notice instrumentation that I never noticed before when they do that, and
Yeah.
it doesn't just like, I think some people get distracted by it, but for me it's like that was in there for a reason and you can't hear it on the stereo mix, so it's good that I have this, so now that I know it's in there.
Yeah. No, I get the surround sound. To me, surround sound though, I don't have a surround sound set up at home. I just want to hear it through good set headphones or some 2 speakers.
Mhm.
Part of me, maybe because I produce and I write and everything like that, when I try and listen to music, I try not to listen to it as a producer. I try to listen to it as a fan.
Mhm.
I don't want to get distracted by, oh, look, here's a harpsichord. Wow, the harpsichord in the rear speaker. What, I don't really want to hear that. I want to hear the overall. And maybe it's again because one of the bad parts about being a producer and really into music and all that kind of stuff is you tend to not pick it apart, but you get focused on, oh, that's an interesting hi-hat pattern, or that's, wow, the synth bass there is really cool. I wonder what patch they use for that. I try and to avoid that. I just want to listen to a song, so sometimes I just put on some headphones and blast it.
Yeah.
And like when I was a kid listening to the AM radio, I just want to hear a good singable song.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's completely valid. And
Yeah,
I will buy, like, if it's like close to the edge. Close to the edge, I'll listen
yeah,
to the regular mix most of the time. But
yeah,
sometimes I go, I would like to hear Close to the Edge and Surround today. Like,
Yeah.
and
Oh
you
no,
did
yeah,
that.
I completely understand it. Just for me, I don't want to I've never heard an Atmos mix. I've never, surround sound, I haven't heard a surround sound mix unless I
Mhm.
happen to be in a studio where someone's working on one. It doesn't interest me, but I understand why it interests other people.
Yeah.
100% interest. I understand why. I get it.
Now, I was recently, I got the Marillion.com anniversary deluxe edition, and there was an interview there, and Stephen Rothery talked about the fact that when he went into that album, he wanted to try some new guitar things that he hadn't done before. He wanted to try some styles that he maybe had only dabbled in before, maybe some sounds that he hadn't used before.
Yeah.
Did you, going into this album, because it does sound so varied, and some of the instrumentation is so different than what has come before from Pattern Seeking Animals, did you consciously come into this wanting to explore new ways to make the music, new patterns, new sounds?
Yeah, I always try to do that. And primarily not just because I'm interested in new things, but if I happen to be listening to Arabic pop music at the time, I might try this instrument. But a lot of it, I try and do that to shake things up because we come up with a new album so often. I mean, this album is actually what, a year and 4 months since Friend of All Creatures, whatever it is.
Mm.
This would have come out 8 months after that album, but Ted and Dave got pulled away to record the new Spock's record for a couple months, and they got torn away for 2 or 3 months to rehearse for live right in the middle of when we were doing this. This album would have been out 8 months after Friend of All Creatures without that. All of a sudden, there's time to do this. So when I start a new album, I always think very carefully about. I don't want to repeat too many sounds. I mean, there's a standard piano, mellotron, whatever.
Hmm.
For every album, I start going through all the new plugins and virtual instruments and stuff, and I buy all sorts of new software, different sounds and instruments. I buy new guitars. I buy new instruments because I want to approach it differently. Um, the last album, on this album, Grimalkin, I wanted to use more of the flute and the violin and the trumpet and the viola and stuff like that. And I'm working on the next album right now, and I'm going to switch it up again. There's going to be even more different instruments on it because I just want to approach things differently. And I also want to approach things differently as far as production. For this album, we recorded the drums at Dave Grohl's studio,
Mm.
606 studio in Northridge. This is a big drum room just to get a different drum sound, a bigger drum sound. Um, yeah, I'm always trying to shake things up. Always.
Um, you mentioned Ted, and I talked to Ted when the Archaeoptimist came out, when Spock's came out with that. And one thing that struck me about this album, and Ted always sounds great, but
Oh yeah.
I felt like Ted sounded very energized on this record.
Yeah, he's always kind of surprises me. It's funny because every once in a while I'll be listening to uh, some prog radio station, whether it's Progzilla or Moro or whatever. I mean, when any one of those stations, prog rock radio, which is great. Um, and I'll hear some song and go, oh, well, that's really cool. I really like that. I wonder who this is. And it'll be like some old Enchant record, and it'll be Ted singing, but his vocals have expanded and grown so much over the years, and he just seems to get more life and energy to the music. And I think he outdoes himself. He always tries to go above and beyond in a vocal performance. He'll send me the vocal tracks or something, and then I'm start working on it, and then a week later go, you know what? I think this word in the verse, I want to record this line again because I think I can get more energy out of it. I want a different emotion out of it. Cool, whatever you want to do, it's good. But he's real conscientious about that kind of stuff, which
Now,
is
did
which
you?
I would love. Yeah.
Yeah, did you have any involvement with the Archaeoptimist when Spock's was putting
No,
that together? No.
no, I'm disconnected from Spock's like after the noise floor, like whatever, however many albums ago that was. No, there's nothing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no, it wasn't many. It was a long time, but not many albums.
yeah,
Um, I was just curious because I did talk to Ted about that album, but I didn't. We didn't. But you know, you're just kind of in the moment in the interview, and I didn't
oh
really
yeah,
think to ask him about it. But so thank you for weighing in and
yeah.
letting me know. So, what do you want the listener to take away from the experience of listening to Grimalkin?
I just wanted to listen and to, it's like was it Vince Gill, a great quote. He says, "When I listen to music, I don't want to be impressed. I want to be moved. I want it to evoke some emotion or visceral feeling, even if it's bad, even if it's like, oh, this sucks, or this is the best thing I've ever heard. The last thing I want to hear is, yeah, it's okay. No, I don't want that reaction whatsoever. I want a strong reaction either way. Obviously, I prefer if they like it,
Mm-hmm.
but I want them to be moved by it at some level or do it emotionally or not just be, which is why in the pattern seeking animals, I kind of shy away from too much riffing, too much noodling. I like good solos and that's fine, but I want to hear good melodic, structured instrumentation that moves the song along rather than a zillion. That's why Jimmy plays I mean, he's a great drummer and he plays some really proggy things, but it's very straight ahead. It serves as a song, which I love. I get distracted sometimes when I'm listening to a prog album. The drummer's just doing a million things all under the vocals and everything, and which is fine. And people like that. It's just not my cup of tea.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
As a listener of music, you're obviously as you mentioned, you already got songs ready for the next one.
yeah.
You're involved in that. How often do you go back and listen to old PSA albums? Do you ever go back and listen to old PSA albums?
Almost never. I mean, the only time I did recently, I listened to when the band was going to play at Prague Stock last year, and we were trying to decide what songs. So I went back and just did, I listened to all the albums pretty much straight through, and I made my notes. But I kind of let the guys choose because I'm not in the live band, so I let them choose whatever. But I wanted to go back and listen, and it's always that kind of thing where you listen to it and you hear a song and you go, wow, that turned out really good. I'm really happy. Then you listen to another song and you're thinking, oh, I shouldn't have gone this direction with this. Oh, why did I do this? It's not cringy, but it's like, I could have made better choices. Or why was this song even on the album? I should have left it off. Stuff like that. And it's not that I don't like listening to my stuff because obviously I want to write stuff where I like to listen to it. It's more of an issue of I listen to so much music all day and I want to hear new stuff. I'm still listening, coming over here today, I was in my car doing something. I'm listening to Sirius XM Hits One. I listen to pop music continually. I want to hear what's out there. And I want to hear creative stuff. I want to listen to prog stuff. I don't want to really watch too much TV or movies or whatever. I listen to music. Almost 20, there's always music going through my head, either in my head without music playing or when I'm listening to something.
Yeah.
It's constant.
So
So,
do
yeah.
when you put these albums together, you obviously hear the mixes over and over and over. Do you just grow tired of them and you're like, I
Oh,
got
yeah.
it. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. I'm tired. I don't say I'm tired of it,
Yeah.
of the new album, but I've heard it so much. I just, because the other thing I do as I'm building the songs up in my studio before we actually mix them, I'm trying to figure out if there's going to be an order for songs.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll sit there at night and I'll just kick back and I'll put the headphones on and I'll say, okay, this one I'm going to put this song second, this one is a closer. And so listen to the whole album. And I do that a lot as I'm going through and writing all the different songs. So that way I tend to I tend to get not tired of it, but not as excited,
Mm-hmm.
which is also a really good thing because if you put something out and you're still really excited about the songs, you're not necessarily looking at it objectively. So, like I said, I'll put a song aside and come back to it and listen to it. And you know what? This section doesn't really work. This section could be longer. This guitar could be louder, whatever. I start listening to it that way. But to go back, I haven't listened to Friend of All Creatures or Spooky Action or any of those songs, any of those albums in a year or two. I don't know.
Wow.
Yeah.
Do you have any idea how many times you'll listen to a song as you're creating an album? Like how many times you hear the same song?
Well, I hear it from what's the basic, like I wrote that song Slowly Falls a Flying Man. I started out with that Baroque Renaissance section, which I listened to that a zillion times getting that together. And now I'm going to expand the song and write the next sections. And you listen to that, and you listen to that, and you listen to the two together. Then, okay, section three, it goes. So complete songs, I don't know, maybe 40, 50 times each one.
Mm.
But up to then, I'm listening to parts hundreds of times as I go back and forth as I'm trying to write it. because you're writing this section, the flute. I want a C instead of an A minor there. So it's whatever. I'm always changing and working with this stuff, and when I'm not listening to it, it's running through my head. It's I have no inner monologue most of the time, except for music or inner dialogue. It's just don't have it.
Do you ever make changes to songs sort of late in the game that kind of Ted or somebody be like, "Oh wow, you cut that part out" or something?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
sometimes they're kind of used to it. Um, Yeah, no, I've cut out, like I said, I've cut out large sections of some of these songs. And sometimes they notice and sometimes they don't. But I think they know me at this point. They know when they record it, I'm going to change stuff. Whether it's like in the song A Flower Yet to Grow off the new album. Ted played this in the center section. Ted played this really cool slide guitar part,
Mhm.
which was under the vocals. And I was listening to it thinking that should be on its own. So I expanded the song. I put 16 bars or whatever it was before the vocals start and moved the slide guitar there so it's a solo slide guitar part. Stuff like that. You kind of have to have your producer's hat for stuff like that. But I do that kind of stuff all the time. Like, this bass part was okay here, but if I move it over here under this verse instead of the first one, it's going to be way cooler and build this song better. So yeah, I shuffle stuff around and do stuff all the time, all the
And
time.
I'm sure, like by now, these guys trust you to service the song, as you said.
Yeah.
You always want the song to be better, and they trust you to make that happen in the final mix.
Yeah, and like I've said a million times, I write these albums and these songs so I really have to like it. The minute you start writing a song for someone else to like, you're doomed. Because I always figure, well, look, if I like this song, I'm thinking people who like other stuff like I like. If you're into whatever, Yes and Genesis and Kansas and Big Big Train or Marillion or whatever, like I am, well, maybe you'll like my song because I'm into all the same kind of stuff. It's as
Yeah.
simple as that. But yeah, you have to. I always just think writers and producers, you have to write so you're really happy with it, because otherwise you're second guessing. I'm going to make a 20-minute song because the Prague fans will expect this. No, no,
Yeah.
you can't. No, no,
I,
no, not gonna
I
happen.
feel like that's if you're doing that for you
Yeah,
to make you happy, to make something you like to hear, that's
yeah,
art. If you're doing it to make something that someone else likes,
yeah.
that's advertising, PR, you
Yeah.
know.
Oh, it's like oh, this song is all in 4/4. We got to put a bar of 7 or 5 in there to make it so the the prog guys can have something to latch on. No,
Yeah.
it just you have to service a song.
Yeah.
You have, and I like that kind of stuff as much as anyone else. I love 13/8 and 21/4. I love all that stuff and the major key changes, but ultimately it has to work with a song and not feel like it's shoehorned in to make it prog or whatever.
Right. Is
Yeah.
the best place to get this album, whether it's vinyl, CD, at the GEP website? Is that where you get the most return?
You get it through our website,
Get through Pattern Seeking Animals?
psanimals1.com, and but you can go to GEP is fine. But we sell through Bandwagon USA, and then Bandwagon Europe for people in Europe because shipping is so goddamn expensive, from here to there. Um, but when you buy it through us, obviously we get more of a return, but you also get a nifty signed autograph 5x7 portrait of the band where we've all signed and everything. So
Nice.
exclusive when you order it right through us.
There
But to
you
find
go.
out, yeah, but if you go to our website or Facebook or Instagram or X or whatever, the links to order the album are right up there. Right up
Well,
there.
I love the artwork. I know you commissioned it for the record sleeve. Do you are you going to have merch with
Oh,
that on it? Shirts,
no, we
stuff?
didn't commission it. I licensed it.
License that. I'm
Yeah,
sorry. I
licensed it. Yeah.
misspoke.
Oh no, that's fine because sometimes some of the albums, obviously, like Spooky Action at a Distance, I got Thomas Everhart. I gave him the idea, come up with something. But this one, I'm really into licensing really cool artwork now. I don't think we're gonna have merchandise with this one on it, only because we're not gonna be playing live anytime soon. Where if we were, it's like, oh yeah, shirts, hats, whatever. I'm not sure how big of a seller those are anyway, just through the store. Those are more things you buy when you go to see a band live.
Hmm.
Uh, and I'm not sure if the return is there for a band our size. Um, and plus, if we were to do T-shirts and start selling them later in the year, I'm already thinking about the next album, and it's like, okay, what's the point? So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love the artwork. I would have totally bought a shirt with that on
Oh,
it.
I get it. I know. I think it's really cool. I think it would have been cool if we were playing live to put the image on the drum head, on the bass drum head.
Oh yeah.
I think there was a backdrop. And the cool thing about her artwork, I think I mentioned it, is that when I licensed the artwork, she said, "Oh, by the way, I have like 4 or 5 other illustrations along the same line with the same characters. I'll throw those in." So if you look at I don't know if you've seen the vinyl or the album yet. So there's different images from the same artist and the same creatures on there throughout the album, which is great, which makes things, the variety on there is real nice.
Yeah, I did see the interior of the booklet.
Yeah,
And you guys did something similar with your pictures this time than as you did last time, but not quite taking it that far
yeah.
in terms of the I'm not even sure what you guys did to it, but we talked about it last time. The pictures last time and the pictures this time, there's a link there, but they're not done exactly the same way.
Well, I left that to Thomas Ewerhart, who set up the graphics. So he gave him a visual treatment to match the graphics so it fits. It's kind of more muted, uh, darker type of stuff, which he treated the pictures. And the thing with the pictures with us, which makes things really difficult, is we live in different parts of the country. Dave's up north, Ted's in New York. To get together, so last year during Prod Stop, I I came out there to hang out. We've got to get some pictures taken because we don't have pictures from the last 3 albums. So we're using old pictures. So we got a photographer who says, "Hey, let's put us in a corner, shoot some pictures of us and some portraits and some albums we can use." So that was a really good byproduct because, uh, yeah, yeah, the albums, the pictures we've been using in the last one were selfies or they're whatever. But yeah, so we did that. Um, yeah, because that's tough because it doesn't really make any sense financially to say, okay, we're going to fly to LA to do pictures. Great. I'm just going to take the entire album budget just to take pictures.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not cheap to travel around
No, 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 no,
and
no.
you're hiring a photographer and all of that stuff. I get it.
Yeah, yeah.
The album is called Grimalkin. Pattern Seeking Animals comes out August 21st on GEP. John Boegehold, thank you so much for returning to the show, telling me about the record. I hope it does really well for you.
Oh,
I'm
thank you.
really enjoying it. Just still scratching the surface, I feel like, on this one
Yeah.
after about 10 listens. But I feel like it's going to have a lot of staying power. And I
Cool.
wish you the best of success in the future.
Thank you very much. Always a pleasure.